Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Where's Carl here on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I'm Tiny Rose. With me, as always, Adam Levy. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing? Happy birthday.
I'm doing. Thank you. It is my birthday. I just got back from a little vacay last week.
How was the show?
Went and saw. It was amazing. If you didn't see the pictures, I
did
was
see
front
some of the
row.
pictures.
I was
Nice.
front row. I had a chair. It was lovely. I highly recommend the VIP experience.
Your wall's
great.
looking a little bare behind you.
Yeah, I was trying to swap out my Michonnes, and then the nail came out of the wall.
Uh-oh.
So that happened moments ago. So I put my big head in the way to cover it up.
There you Fair enough.
I'm fine. It's all good. So we got 2 episodes to cover, and like a true professional, I wrote notes on neither. So
Fair enough.
This is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk. Let's just get to the sticking points of warning signs. The episode 2 weeks ago, we found Jeremy dead to start the episode, and
I think we should call him the Scorpion King now.
All right, the Scorpion King it is. The Scorpion King is dead and zombified, and then it cuts back to like 10 days earlier, which it's just fine. It does that from now and then. So, all right, the big plot points on this. There's a lot to dive into. We got the Oceanside story, which is part of Jeremy.
Yeah,
Maggie's in there a little bit, but more so Daryl and Carol. Carol's in deep in this.
Yeah, she is definitely.
So I want to just get to my theory on what's going to happen. Like we all know what next week is. It's the last Rick Grimes episode.
Yep. I thought he had more than 5 episodes, but
they can do flashbacks, but they're going to end Rick. So, we'll get to the setup later in the episode, but I was thinking about it today, and we know the Whisperers are coming, and I can't wait because we get Ryan Hurst, and we're very excited about Opie joining the cast.
Yes, we are.
So with that in mind, I do know from the comic book that upon meeting the Whisperers, we find someone's head on a pike. Right? Are you familiar with this?
I vaguely remember that. That's right about where I stopped.
Okay, well, the head on the pike is King Ezekiel.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I started thinking about it, and I was like, there are no way that they're going to set this big Carol love story up and crush Carol again. Like,
yeah, Carol deserves some happiness.
Right. We as fans are not going to stand for that kind of bullshit. You're taking away Carl. You're taking away Rick. You cannot crush Carol by killing King Ezekiel. So, with that in mind, I think it's Rick Grimes' head on a pike.
It's entirely possible. I mean,
like they did the Denise death and switching characters. I think that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it before where they've switched character deaths to, based on who's still on the show at this point. And, with Bob instead of Dale with the Terminus people,
right?
Things like that. So yeah, if they wanted to use, so if they wanted to use Rick as the introduction to the Whisperers, I mean, because we know that, at least from the preview from next week's episode, it doesn't look like what happened to Rick at the end of this episode is what kills him.
Okay, yeah, because all right, we're just skipping ahead. I don't care. It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
That's right. Damn it.
Everything I've seen on the trailer side is Rick leading this horde into Atlanta, which is as far away from Alexandria as he could get with a piece of rebar in his gut.
A lot of the preview I saw is like flashback.
Yeah, it's got to be fever dream, right?
Yeah.
So he's laying there, he's piked. these walkers are closing in on him, and you know, here we go. We're gonna go revisit his life. He's gonna go see Shane, and he's gonna see Glenn again. And all right, we know all this.
Rick Grimes, this is your life.
So I think the bridge is metaphorical. That trek into Atlanta is, you know, to the bridge that they're building there.
It makes sense.
Even gets that far.
The preview
of that rebar.
The preview does show him crossing that bridge with the zombies behind him. So
yeah, I think it's all like a little mind trip, a little. And if that's how they plan to take him out, I would prefer that he gets his head chopped off by Opie than dies because he got thrown from a horse, which seems like a really shitty way for Rick to go.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Rick survived the apocalypse. He survived the governor. He survived Negan and cannibals, and he's gonna get taken out by a fucking scared horse and a piece of rebar. I don't buy that shit.
Yeah,
I ain't buying it.
That's a Tony Soprano kind of end.
Totally. I mean, if Rick Grimes goes out, I expect to see that helicopter crash onto him. That's how Rick deserves like a crazy ass death.
Right. He deserves one of those hanging on to the bottom part that I've always wanted to do, hang on. I don't know. By the way, I never wanted to do that. I never want to have to do that. I will fall to my death.
Yeah, more than likely, so would I.
Quickly, just very quickly. I have the upper body strength of a toddler. It's true. I'm not going to fake it. I would die instantly. Yeah. No. But Rick Grimes deserves that kind of go out. He deserves a big action packed, or just a nice beheading. I'm okay with that. But it has to progress the story. It's got to move us forward. And because 4 episodes, the season is getting stale.
Yeah, Carl's death, while seeming kind of pointless, did progress the story a bit. At least it progressed Rick's state of mind in how he needed to deal with Negan and how Rick is proceeding going forward.
Okay, do you think Carl's death with only 5 episodes after it makes a lot of sense?
Maybe. They didn't really do anything. Like, it still took a couple episodes for Rick to kind of process what happened and to take what happened with Carl and to start incorporating that into what he was doing. And even still, it didn't, because right away he's still like, I'm going to kill Negan. And it wasn't until the very end that he decided, oh, you know what? I can't kill Negan. I got to spare his life. So, but you never really saw that. You never really saw that struggle, Rick internalizing Carl's death and what it meant for him and going forward. But now it's like, they still talk about Carl's death as having this profound impact on Rick's life. And, even this week, Michonne's like, I see Carl everywhere,
Oh, yeah. In the episode, the Warning Signs episode, Rick takes a tomato out of the garden and takes it to Carl's grave and puts it on there. And it's a bro. And I read an article today because I was trying to recap, and whoever wrote the article was fantastic writer. Says, and Rick takes the most succulent, beautiful tomato from the garden and drops it on Carl's grave. And later in the episode, Judd steals a tomato, and it is the most beautiful, succulent tomato you've ever seen. It's props to the Walking Dead's tomato person.
Yeah, what is it with the tomatoes, man? Because Rick took one, Judd took one. There was a whole basket of tomatoes this episode. Does Angela Kang just have a tomato fetish or what?
I don't know, but I was watching Talking Dead after that episode, and they do a fan reward code each episode. And so, after like 4 episodes, you start trying to guess, and I'm like, it's tomato. Yeah. I get 100% it's tomato.
It's tomato.
And it was tomato. So that happened. Okay. Let's talk Maggie. Maggie is out to assassinate Negan. And this is kind of cool for me. I dig this story for Maggie.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, you don't watch The Challenge on MTV, do you?
No, I don't.
All right, well, it's kind of like, I'm going to break down The Walking Dead into The Challenge. All right, you have the original people that were on like Fresh Meat in 2005. and you love them. You got your Johnny Bananas, you got your, Wes, great players. All right, so they're all great. Then later they start like fighting, and now they're on different sides of the house. So now it's them versus them, and that's what we're getting in The Walking Dead now. It's Daryl has gone to the Maggie side, and that's not on the Rick side. There's nobody on the fucking Rick side right now.
Oh no, not at all. The only person on Rick's side is Michonne.
Michonne, this girl right here, and I have to say, farewell to Rick's ugly pickle being inside Michonne, because that is over.
Yeah,
I feel vindicated. That was the last scene I'd ever have to see of him touching her like that. And I was so happy to see.
Oh, there'll be like a 15-minute flashback of Rick boning Michonne in the next episode.
I know. God damn it. But yeah, he's done boning that. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Rick really does have, with the exception of Michonne, nobody is on Rick's side. I mean, Carol, I'd say still kind of on his side, but she's got her own agenda thing. She's got her own thing going on now.
I think Carol's on Carol's side. And
yeah,
Carol's
I mean,
side is the right side, I think.
Yeah, Carol.
If you're looking at who's going to come out of it best. I think Ezekiel, Jerry, Carol, that side's going to come out looking great, where Daryl and Maggie are going to come off looking killery, like that's a word. And the Rick side's just going to be gone. Because we're going to lose Denai Guerrera too. So just kill the whole Rick side and we can start over.
Yeah, I mean, from last week's episode, you see, Maggie kind of embracing that killery side. You see, and Daryl too, especially with the end of the episode. But like, I mean, we saw it early on when Maggie killed Gregory. I mean, I think that was completely justified, but she was completely okay with it. She's like, it wasn't a group decision. It was a Maggie decision. It was Maggie's decision to just end Gregory.
I agree. And we got instead of, I'm sorry, we got to see at the end of warning signs that her and Daryl stood side by side as Oceanside whacked a rat. And I don't mean like that in a mob way, a rat. I mean the character, a rat gone.
Yeah.
From this world. And because then they're behind all these saviors going missing, is the Oceanside people are getting the vengeance that they've sought. And then Maggie's after, and then Daryl's after, but that Rick is kind of given up on. He's like, the war's over. I'm done with the vengeance.
Yeah. And nobody but Rick seems to want to embrace Rick's way.
Michonne wants to rebuild the new world, and we saw her talking to Negan. And she kind of put that across, like her way is the right way, I think. But unfortunately,
nobody else seems to think that.
Her way is going to get trampled under these other ideas. And look, we all know Maggie's going to come to kill Negan. She's not going to kill Negan. Negan lives.
Yeah, of course.
Right. He has to. Especially with the absence of Rick, you need Negan. And I understand the void Negan will fill. And maybe that's why she opts not to kill him, is because they find out Rick is gone. And who's going to keep Sanctuary in line without Rick? Nobody. They're going to get their guns, and they already got guns. So, yeah, I see where it's all going, and I'm okay with it. And when the Whisperers join in, it's going to just up the ante and make the melee so much fun.
Yeah. Nobody but Rick seems to think that the war is over. I mean, everybody else is still fighting their little battles. Oceanside wants revenge on the Saviors for what they did. Maggie wants revenge on everybody else for the things that they did. I mean, this isn't the way to build a new society if you're going to sit there and let everybody kill each other off. You're going to be hurting for people. And to be fair, with the limited resources that they have, a little culling might not be a bad idea, but we know that there are other societies, the Georgia Society or whatever, that's going really strong. So clearly this can work. But these people, with the exception of Rick and Michonne, aren't ready to see that yet.
No, I don't think they're ready to see it at all. As they're there's a way I could see where the elimination of the sanctuary people makes sense. To every other group, it makes sense, except the sanctuary people.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I don't think all the sanctuary people deserve that, because not all of them were the people behind what happened. But it's the way stereotypes and prejudice work. Is you lump them all together. So you're from sanctuary, you're just as bad as everybody else there.
Right. I agree with that. It's very
because we've seen some of the people from sanctuary that are clearly trying to work with everybody else, that are trying to stop some of the other people in their group from doing the stupid things, trying to the blonde girl that stopped Judd from trying to take Maggie's weapons and stuff.
Talking about, can't remember her name.
Yeah, so there are some people from sanctuary that clearly have the best interest of other people at heart, but for the most part, it seems that all the other ones that we see from sanctuary don't. They're still holding a grudge for what happened.
Yeah, and I like the political nature of it, in that once these whisperers show up, sanctuary people are going to have a get on board or get out kind of mentality.
Yeah,
it's
and the way they're being treated,
right?
Yeah, the way they're being treated, I could see them joining the Whisperers if given the opportunity, because they're being treated like shit by everybody else.
Yeah, because they have no legitimate resources. They are only labor. And that's called what's it called? Slavery. We don't do that stuff anymore. Well, at least we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
We have different kinds of it now.
Yes, definitely.
I don't want to get off on a rant or anything, but there was a shooting today in North Carolina.
Oh, geez, was there?
Schools. There was. It was a school shooting.
Oh, and good God.
The thing about it was it was not an open fire situation. It was one kid shot another kid because he was pissed off at that kid.
Doesn't make it any better, but at least it's not as bad as it could have been.
Right. Doesn't make it. It's not a good situation. But what drove me crazy was it happened in the morning, and I was awake watching the news, and a reporter for one of our local channels pretty much incited a riot amongst the parents.
Oh, good God.
And the parents were being told to gather in a church parking lot across the street. And this reporter got a microphone in each parent's face and was like, why are they holding your kids over there and you can't see them? Why don't you go over there and get your kids? Until these parents marched on the school.
Jesus Christ.
It was the most heinous thing I've ever seen a reporter do. To get a story. He had his camera and himself right in the middle of this mob of angry parents.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope this guy loses his job.
I do too. And again, this wasn't an open shooter situation. The police had the kids in lockdown. Everyone was safe. Yes, they wanted to get to their children. If there was a shooter at your kid's school, I'm sure you'd want to too. But there's protocols for a reason. They were trying to keep all the kids accounted for and safe.
Yeah.
And this guy, crazy, this reporter did that. So anyway,
oh Jesus Christ!
Hey, your Alexa's going off.
Yeah, my Alexa's acting up on me.
Alexa, buy porn.
I just unplugged it.
Damn, I was gonna try. All right. So, anyways, enough with that. Let's do somebody else fun. Let's talk Jada Ann and Father Gabriel.
I was kind of bummed by what happened here. I liked Jadis, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of her.
No, but she gives us some pretty cool little Easter eggs with her little walkie-talkie talk.
I wasn't quite sure what she was talking about there.
Okay. Well, on the walkie-talkie, they said, "Do you have an A or a B?" That can only be an alpha or a beta. So that is definitely whisperer contact right there. So that's who's on the other end of the radio. Apparently you got to pay to get picked up, to get some air flight, because they got the chopper, bro.
Yeah.
So Opie's gonna have a chopper.
Get to the chopper.
It's not a chopper. No, it's a helicopter.
So Opie will be trading one chopper for another, then, huh?
Yeah. So with Father Gabriel, like, all right, poor Father Gabriel, he kind of digs her. I get it. It's
well, she wanted to touch his penis. Of course, he was gonna dig her.
It's the apocalypse. You're a one-eyed preacher. You get what you can get, right? If somebody's gonna throw it at you, yeah, absolutely, he's gonna take it.
Yeah. The little pontiff was getting some action.
But he trailed her to the heaps and catches her on the radio with what I can only assume to be Alpha or Beta. Well, Beta, because Alpha's a girl. That is very cool to me, by the way.
Yeah.
I just it would seem if I was writing it, I would think the same way. Like, to change it up, I'd make Alpha the female.
Yeah. No.
It's brilliant. But anyways, apparently they justify people in two categories. You're either a leader or you're a soldier. Soldier ain't worth as much as a leader. And by following her and questioning her, Father Gabriel proved that he was a leader.
Yeah.
So now she's got Alpha clearance, so she's going to get her chopper and get the hell out of there. Well, she disappeared. But I like the note in the pocket. That was, if you're gonna dust the guy off in the apocalypse, at least don't ghost him.
Yeah, I mean, it was the equivalent of the text message breakup nowadays, but at least she gave him something.
Yeah, and she threw his own line back at him, which is it's what they do. Oh, alive. Oh, all right. Chat room's coming through.
A is okay.
Alive, B is bitten. No, I don't. I disagree.
Because I don't think
Beta.
Yeah, because I don't think they'd want anybody that was bitten unless they're doing some research on them. But still, I can't see why anybody would want an infected person.
Right, and why would she say, "Oh, you are an A"?
He
proved himself to be something better than bitten. So I'm gonna say no to the chat room. Nay, I say.
I say the nay.
I say the nay, and Alpha Beta is what I stick with. I'm probably totally wrong.
Yeah, we might find out here in a few episodes at least, but for the time being, we'll just have to go with what our theory is.
Yeah, and I like I said, I'm very sure it's coming soon. So Father Gabriel really got the bad end of that, because she put like a dead walker on him. She was going to throw that was heinous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the point is. If he was going to be her payment, what was the point of having him be walker bait?
Right. I agree with you. Like the person on the radio seemed to want an A and not a B. So if B is bitten or dead, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So because she had him and he was pretty tied up, he wasn't going anywhere.
And then Father Gabriel pulled off that Good Will Hunting moment where I forgive you, and she reconsidered.
It's not
your fault.
It's not your fault. I was Popeye. Not your fault.
And then she reconsiders and pulls the armless zombie back, who had a wonderful pearl necklace, by the way.
It was beautiful. And that we've seen her with the zombies on dollies before. That was a big bit in the heaps.
They love their dolly zombies. They love their spike wielding metal covered zombies.
Winslow, he was the
Winslow, best. Yeah.
Winslow was the best zombie. Remember the first time you saw her, like, oh shit, that's right. Like, Rick is gonna fight this thing. Yeah, go thing.
I mean, if Rick had to go some way, Rick should have gone by Winslow.
Right? Death by Winslow is an awesome way to go. Like, you went out like a gladiator.
Seriously.
He got thrown off a horse like Tom Mix. Ooh. It's horrible. That's how you go out if you're a lesser Earp brother.
The Bill Paxton character.
Yeah, like Morgan Earp. He gets like kicked by a horse. That's no way to die. Like,
no,
this is no way to kill Rick Grimes.
Not for the guy that's been there from the very beginning. I mean, after Rick's death, there's 2 original cast members left. Daryl and Carol.
You consider Daryl original?
He's been there pretty much since the beginning of the series. What?
Didn't show up for 4 episodes.
I consider anybody in the first 6 episode season original cast.
All right. I'll give it to Daryl and Carol, and that's isn't that what this show's supposed to do? Like, there's no end game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. I mean, part of it. Yeah, it's the cast has revolved so many times. There are people that you've gotten attached to that have gone away really quickly, some that have stuck around for a couple seasons, but eventually most everybody goes. I mean, it's going to get to the point.
Let's talk about the deaths of those original people. Glenn's death, epic.
Yeah,
Herschel's
definitely.
Death, epic. Herschel's not even original. But
no.
Let's see.
Dale had a shitty death.
Andrea?
Kind of weak. I mean, she got locked in a room by the governor with a zombie.
Kind of weak.
Lori had a pretty epic death.
Lori's death was pretty epic. Shane had a good death.
Yeah.
Killed by Carl. Kind of. Let's see.
What about
Carl's death sucked.
What about Daryl's brother?
Merle?
Merle.
I don't remember how Merle died.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember he came back with that metal arm with the spike on it and shit.
Yeah, that was badass. Merle may still be alive.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember what happened to Merle.
I don't either.
What about T-Dog? Didn't T-Dog die in prison? He get eaten in prison or something?
Yeah, it wasn't very good. But you would expect Rick Grimes' death to be at least on par with Glenn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to necessarily see him get bashed with a baseball bat, though. Not opposed to it.
Gov shot Merle several times.
Bit his finger off. All right. I'll buy that. I like the governor. I miss the governor.
Yeah. No, there was a scene in the beginning of this episode that it took me a little while to get the significance of. When we're seeing the whole montage of Michonne, running town by day and kicking ass by night.
Right.
At the end, when she picks up the baseball bat and bashes that one zombie's head, and then she's like freaks out. I'm like, why the hell is this? And then I realize when she's talking to Negan, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes perfect sense now. When Negan's saying that they're the same. Yeah. She completely had that freak out. It took me that whole episode to figure that out. I'm like, it's just a baseball bat. I'm like, oh, I completely missed that.
I guess I can see how you missed it, but they went back to it again when she was reading the book to
yeah.
And I guess that might have been where it hit you. But
yeah,
they did the baseball bat again, and I was like, oh, no, you're so heavy-handed sometimes. I got it the first time. But okay, that's a good point. You didn't get it. Here's the thing. I love this about the Negan and Michonne conversation. Is that Negan asked for his bat.
Yeah, Negan is broken up over the fact that they left his bat out where they almost killed him.
And I don't think that's true. I think the Lucille is somewhere very close. They know where it is.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, because Michonne knew that Negan was trying to push her button, so she was going to try and push his back.
If you were going to place any bit of memorabilia from The Walking Dead into the Smithsonian, it would be Lucille.
Damn right.
I would think, unless you could do Rick's gun, but
Rick's gun too. Yeah, that would be.
I would much rather have the katana and Lucille.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and Daryl's crossbow.
All right, well, see, that's a good display.
Yeah,
like the 4 weapons of the apocalypse.
Those are probably the most iconic weapons in the series too. I mean,
by far, I think, yeah, Lucille. I mean, I guess the gun has a name. But it's not like, Judith.
No. Lori. He calls his gun Lori.
Lori. No, he doesn't.
No, I know.
He calls it Andrea, who he really loves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those 4 weapons are probably the most iconic in the show. I mean, you see lots of knives, you see lots of makeshift swords. You know, you've seen some crazy shit used to kill some zombies here and there. But if you ask anybody, those 4 things are going to be the things that anybody remembers.
I agree. It's
I mean, I guess if you really wanted a 5th, you could say like Morgan's bow staff, but I wouldn't really call that iconic.
No,
but I mean, it's essential part of who that character is or who he became. You know, you definitely equate Morgan with the bow staff, but I wouldn't say it's nearly as recognizable as any of those other 4 weapons.
Yeah, I agree. It's Sting and it's it's Frodo's dagger. It's important. And
yes, like, exactly.
If I was going to get a replica of anything, of course, Lucille you can get for like $25.
Yeah,
but I would buy a Michonne's katana to hang on my wall. That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
With a stand-up of Michonne, which I've asked for, but my girlfriend will not let me have. There's so much they ask to want to stand up Michonne.
Well, I guess it depends on what you do with that stand-up Michonne. You can put it on a string so like you can make it wave at you or something.
Do you watch Big Mouth?
No, I don't.
Oh, you're killing me. You got to watch that show.
I'm so behind on a bunch of stuff. I binged a couple shows this last week.
I'm telling you, Big Mouth is worth your time. There's only 20 episodes. They're half hour.
All right.
You'll pee yourself laughing.
Fair enough.
It's Nick Kroll from The League.
Okay, yeah.
And Jason Sudeikis from The League, and there's a hormone monster that just goes fucking rage. He's great. So yeah, it's the hormone monster is like he tells him like, yell at your dad, you're gonna punch him in the face, things like that. It's great. So yeah, definitely watch it because it's the rudest thing you'll see this year.
All right,
I get it. It's rude as hell. It's awesome. All right, who else you want to talk about? We got a little bit of time left.
So yeah, so after so well, I guess this week Maggie's a little bit in the episode this week was
all
worth.
Right, yeah. So Maggie's headed towards. Let's talk about the communication gone poorly. So Jesus gives Rick the heads up that Maggie's on her way to kill Negan, and so Rick's like, "Okay, I'm gonna call it into the post." And calls into the post, and he's like, "Hey, tell them that she's on her way, and don't let that happen." They're like, "Roger that." And that shit never went through. Because
I love that Rick's like, Maggie, if you can hear me, let's talk this out. And the girl at the outpost is like, yeah, Maggie's done talking.
Yes.
And then she puts her radio down and goes back to reading.
Yeah. So Rick, we're just one more proof of that Rick is just on the complete outside of everyone right now.
Yeah, right? I mean, and I guess jumping away from the topic I just started, there was the line when he was talking to Rick, or when he was talking to Daryl, and he said, "I never asked anybody to lead anybody," and Rick and Daryl's like, "Well, maybe you should have." I mean, Rick definitely just kind of assumed the lead. It was kind of thrust out upon him, but would him having asked anybody, would that have changed anything? Because everybody still listened to him,
Do you think Negan asked to be in control? I mean,
oh no, definitely not.
He just took it. I think.
But see, there's the difference. There is Negan wanted the power. Rick never did. Rick was never comfortable, with that power.
I kind of equate it to merging in LA. Like you gotta want it a little bit, or you're not going to get it.
It's true.
And you can do it aggressively, or you can do it passively, but eventually you're going to get it done. And,
I mean,
that's kind of Rick have it thrust upon him, or did he take it from Shane?
See, I don't know if he took it from Shane so much as he just wanted Shane out of the way. And by doing that, it created that vacuum that he kind of had to step up and fill. But I mean, Rick seemed to be the only person in that group that was willing to make those hard decisions. And by doing that, I think that, everyone just automatically assumed that he was the leader. Making the decision to kill this person here, or to go after this group of here, or to find shelter there, to leave what you knew behind and like the farm or the prison to move on to something else. Rick was always the one that made those decisions. I don't know if anybody else in that group would have been comfortable making those decisions. I mean,
I'm going to put it on it. When you come out as, he was a cop, so he's obviously that leadership would be thrust upon you in that respect. And that
I mean, he's got experience with authority.
Right. People would look for you for protection and authority. And sadly, I got to say that they would look for him for a definition of what is right and wrong now.
Yeah.
And as I guess that would be the role of leadership in this kind of situation is really determining what the law is. I mean, you can be Bob and Terminus and say, or the people at Terminus and be like, this is our law. We're going to lock you in a cage. We're going to eat you. That's our law. But then, Negan's got his law, which is you got to pay in blood and then you work for me. And that's it. And if you get out of line, I'm going to take more blood.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the character's name, but it was the black guy we met in the prison. I think was it Sasha's brother?
Sasha's brother. Yeah, okay. I remember who you're talking about.
Like he was a pretty big character in the comic books, and at one point in the comic books, like he ended up fighting Rick for leadership of the group. And Rick's like, dude, you can take it. Tyrese, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Tyrese. Yeah, Tyrese, challenged Rick for leadership of the group, and Rick pretty much handed it over to him. And that didn't work out very well.
But yeah, we never got to see that in the show. Maybe we should have. It would have been...
Yeah, we never saw anybody challenge Rick for leadership of that group. I think Rick said a couple times that he didn't really want it, but nobody else stepped in to take that.
I agree with that. I think that's true. And maybe that's the flaw in the story. Is that the challenges he's gotten and faced have been the governor and Negan, and very outside of him, outside of his group, an enemy, if you will, instead of an attack from within. So maybe we should have seen that all along, or gotten more of that all along.
Yeah, because when there's an enemy to fight, when there is an enemy, a threat in front of them, Rick seems to shine. But Rick can't see the danger coming from within. He can't see, he can't fathom the fact that his friends could possibly stab him in the back. He can't see those kinds of threats.
You need Rick to be the wartime consigliere.
Yeah, exactly.
When there's peace, he needs to disappear and just be like training people.
Yeah.
So in that respect, Rick could lead the military aspect, but maybe he's not cut out for the political aspect of it.
No, definitely not.
And yeah, because his political style is kind of violent.
Yeah, it can be. until his kid dies and then he becomes a pacifist.
Right? But see, and then we get 6 episodes to be like, oh, now Rick's a pacifist. Okay. And then it's over. So that's where the rub of the Carl death is with me. It just bothers me a little bit.
I get you.
There's not enough of Carl's impact on Rick for me to really care.
Yeah.
I needed him to be, and with a show that is so slow about rolling shit out, you would think that they would have tormented Rick for as many episodes as they could have with Carl's death.
Yeah. Give Rick a telephone, let him talk to his dead son.
Yeah. Instead, we get an 18-month gap, and he's like, nope, I'm a pacifist now.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's bad storytelling.
Yeah.
All right. So where else are we at? Who else do we got to deal with?
So going back to Maggie and Jesus, that little conversation they have before she leaves, where Jesus is like, yeah, I trusted you, but he's like, I think you made some you made decisions for yourself and not for the group. So I mean, whereas at the end of last season when Maggie was had made the decision that Rick seemed like he needed to go, and it was her, Jesus, and Daryl. Now it seems like we've kind of got a little split in the Jesus Maggie group. You know,
you want to call it the Jesus and Mary chain so bad.
Yeah, totally.
There really needs to be a Mary. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I see Jesus fracturing, and if Jesus was going to go more towards the Rick side, and maybe Michonne and Jesus together, fucking great team.
I can see that. I can see Jesus and Michonne because we've seen more interaction with Jesus and Michonne than we've seen with Jesus and Rick lately.
So I think that Jesus, Michonne, and Negan become side 2 versus
that'd be interesting.
Maggie, Daryl, Rosita on the other side. Eugene will find a way to make Sherbert out of shit.
He'll be Switzerland.
Oh yeah, it'll be great. He'll figure it out. I'm all for Eugene. We didn't see a lot of people last couple episodes. Rosita's kind of gone missing this season so far.
So same with Tara.
Tara, yeah, very much. All the girls. Enid, for much of it it's kind of gone.
Well, we saw Enid cut off Aaron's arm.
We in that whole Aaron situation. That's true. Enid's got her stripes, but everybody else has been. We're missing a few people, and
I mean they're really
Oceanside.
Yeah, they've really been focusing on Rick, Daryl, Carol, Maggie, and Michonne, like that group right there. I mean, if you're setting up Rick's departure, I can understand kind of focusing on some of these main characters because they're going to be impacted, and they're going to feel his death more than most everybody else will.
I agree with that. Yeah, and the way they're showing it, a lot of people being stuck in different situations they can't get out. Rick and Daryl get actually stuck in a hole.
Yeah. Although the zombie mudslide was kind of cool.
It was kind of fun. And I was just like, yeah, just keep killing them until you can walk out.
Yeah. Daryl, stacking a pile of corpses to climb up the wall.
That's it. Like, you can kill all the zombies. You got the time. Anything is passable. Any horde is passable as long as you have time.
Yeah.
They move very slowly.
Yeah. What were the names? The hordes? Tybalt and Cordelia. Tybalt and Cordelia. Yeah.
Shakespeare, yeah. So they are one now. Tabordia, I guess. Because Rick has brought them together. Rick is a unifier. He brings things together.
He brings people together, yeah. Even zombie hordes.
As his final job is one last unification project. And that's kind of symbolic, I guess. It is the one last thing he is uniting. Because he ain't uniting with my girl no more. She better not be pregnant or I'm going to be pissed. I will be so pissed if she gives birth to a little grime. Oh.
And she's gonna name him Carl Skeeter. Rick Grimes.
Skeeter Grimes. Skeeter Grimes. And I would call him the bastard love child.
There you go.
Never would a child be more in need of a curb stomp.
Oh, good old Apocalypse.
I've mentioned the child curb stomping many a time, and I'm going to keep doing it.
I know you are.
It's one of my go-tos now. There was a little Jerry in this episode, but not much.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of Jerry.
How about the saviors with the gun now? We got the saviors that are starting to arm themselves. They're fighting back a little bit.
And we didn't see what happened after the gunfire erupted. We didn't see the resolution of that. I'm going to assume that the saviors probably got taken out, or a few of them did, and the rest ran because they were going up against a stronger, more well-armed force.
Well, I'm sure you're not going to kill anybody else but Rick next week.
No.
That's going to be a very short in memoriam on the Talking Dead.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, there's like a field of dead walkers, so this is obviously a fever dream.
I don't know if they were dead walkers though, because it looked like some of them were like characters that he knew.
That'd be awesome. Call everybody that's been on here, like, we need you to come back for one day.
Yeah, we just need you to lay there and let Rick walk over you.
Like, No.
I got better things to do.
Right. I don't know. I hope that I'm just gonna finish with Rick because I just want the death to be worth it, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, every time I think of something like that too, I think back to the Samuel Jackson in Star Wars. The two things he asked for from George Lucas was that he get a purple lightsaber and he get a cool death scene. He got the purple lightsaber, but he went out like a punk bitch.
He did go out like a bitch.
If I was Sam Jackson, I'd have gone after George Lucas and punched him for that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, if you're gonna impale Rick and that's gonna be the end of him, death by thrown from horse. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, talk about anticlimactic. I mean, that's worse than Carl getting bit in the stomach by a zombie.
Yeah, off screen.
Yeah. Did you notice the little piece of wall art that Rick had on the house last episode?
No.
It was the little piece of the railing that Carl
fence.
And Judith,
the
fence with their handprints on it that he turned into wall art.
It was I thought it was a military symbol of some sort. But,
that's what I thought too until I saw the handprints. I'm like, oh, Rick's a sentimental little bastard.
Get him doing crafts, arts and crafts time. I guess if you got time to play with Judith and run all over and have family day, you got time for anything.
Seriously. And picking tomatoes and put them on graves.
Talking about heavy-handedness of The Walking Dead, the whole one last play date with Judith thing was just so over the top.
Oh yeah, I mean, even the fact that last week in the previews, like the final 2 episodes for Rick Grimes, like I mean, they're really just building this shit up.
Yeah, well, I guarantee that next week's episode's the highest rated of the season.
From what I'm understanding, though, that's not a high bar to set.
No, it's all going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, the show's like at all times ratings low right now.
Well,
I don't blame
Heroes category.
I mean, Heroes fell quick though, but I mean, I think that the writing for the last few seasons has really pushed a lot of the fans away because, all this really slow buildup, just taking forever to get anything done. You're wasting 18 episodes on like 3 events happening. It seems it's like, it's like watching Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it's always been slow, and it's always been a horribly paced show. We talk about the whole season walk to terminus if we want. It's boring shit sometimes, but you don't have to show the boring stuff. There are ways that we want to get. I want the Whispers to redeem everything. I want it to become a more us against them kind of show again.
Yeah. I mean, because there were some great seasons on the show. Like the first 2 or 3 seasons, I thought were really, really good. The writing was good. The pacing was good. There was enough happening in each episode that it wasn't like, okay, this is kind of boring. But at the same time, it still didn't feel rushed either. They gave you just enough to keep you satisfied while they were moving slowly towards something else. But like this now, I mean, the whole Negan story took like 2.5 seasons.
The Savior story took a long time. That war took a long time. And it was such a good way into it. With Negan and having them all lined up, that was probably one of the highest episodes when they came back, when Glenn and Abraham died. That was probably one of the highest rated comebacks. And then that war took so fucking long.
Yeah.
And it just drug on forever. And I understand why people left and are not watching the show anymore. It's because it's a repetitive cycle of a kind of show.
Yeah.
We're going to fight a herd. We're going to fight people. We're going to fight a horde. We're going to fight people.
Yeah.
And they haven't had, like I said, we've talked about how zombies aren't frightening anymore. We're not scared of a horde anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to come back to. We need to be fearful of the Walking Dead again and not just the people that are still alive.
Well, I mean, going back to the comic book for this little bit, I mean, the comic book, The Walking Dead, referred to, as far as, the way it was put up in the comic book, is not the zombies, but the survivors. Rick referred to the group as the Walking Dead. They were infected by whatever it was that was turning people into zombies, and when they died, they were going to come back. And this is the same thing, that they were just, biding their time until they came back as zombies. So the zombies, only ever seem to be a threat in very large numbers. If a handful of walkers, even if they surprise you, it's still not that big of a threat. But
Winslow we talked about Winslow earlier. He was frightening.
Winslow
was great.
Yeah.
So there are ways to weaponize these walkers, and that's what we need to see.
Yeah. I mean, now the only thing you have to fear with the walkers is really when there's like thousands of them coming at you at one time.
Which is where we're at.
Yeah.
So,
it's the whole thing, you need a bigger, badder threat. So what's bigger than 10 zombies? 100 zombies. What's bigger than 100 zombies? 1,000 zombies.
Exactly. And then you jump over them on a motorcycle and the show is over. Ta-da!
You just need Fonzie jumping over a ring of zombies.
Look, because they can no longer do Carl and Judith walking down the railroad tracks with a monkey, they need to find an ending, because my ending is gone. It was Kevin Smith's ending anyways, but that is.
But it would have been perfect for the show.
Oh my God, it would have been the best ending ever.
Yeah.
When you say The Sopranos is a bad ending, or Lost, and any of those shows with horrible endings, that would have been everybody would have been like bowing at Kirkman's feet, going, he stole the exact right scene.
Yeah.
Well done. Like, Tarantino couldn't have stolen it any better.
Either that, or Rick's gonna wake up and it's Planet of the Apes.
All right,
he's gonna wake up on a beach with the Statue of Liberty head on the sand, and
I think he's greeted in heaven by the zombie version of everyone he killed.
Well, what if he wakes up in a world where zombies are sentient, and the zombies have killed the humans?
Like the Lord, they have like a Lord Commander Walker.
Yeah,
the Night's King.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sentient zombies with their own little government in place, and farms where they're keeping food.
Maybe that's how The Walking Dead ends. Khaleesi rides in on Dragon and just lays waste to every zombie that's left.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You know what? It would end 2 shows perfectly well.
Yeah.
All right, sir. I am going to go eat my birthday cake.
Oh, have fun with that.
We have been putting it off until this was over. So you enjoy going to work. I'm enjoying my cake. And we will see you next week when we talk about Rick's final episode.
Dun, dun, dun.
We'll see you next week. Peace.